How you doing? What's going on? Welcome to the replay. Welcome to Daily Fuel. My name is Bobby, and I'm the host of this group art fueled life quantity. Today we are going to attempt to solve string theory. We're not going to attempt it. We are going to solve it, but not the mathematics and the physics. That stuff's boring. Actually, it's not boring. I find it very interesting. But I think the concept of it is very, very interesting. And I just had some thoughts about it. Take a while to guess how many thoughts. It's 3. And so we're going to talk about that today. But actually, I'm jumping ahead. I'm still talking to replay people. Are you a replay person? Hello, replay person. How are you? Let me know you're in the replay. Put a hashtag of some kind. Let me know your theory about string theory. Do you like string theory? Have you ever heard of string theory? Maybe you have a better theory. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But if you're in the replay, let me know. And if you're joining live, then please, you can comment the whole time I'm talking. I'm going to go through my spiel. And in fact, my spiel is a little bit longer today because I had to write some notes about string theory on top of the things I wanted to say. So if you see, you can't really see that. I have. You see how there's like that L shape right there because I have a little added piece of paper taped to the bottom of my spiel because there was something else that I wanted to say and I didn't have room to write it. Anyway, let's begin. Let's solve string theory. Now, string theory, if you're curious, what is that? It is a theory in physics that is called the theory of everything, basically. And by the way, just so you know, a theory in scientific terms is an idea that is widely accepted as the best possible idea by like a consensus of scientists throughout the world. It's peer reviewed. People have done so like the theory of evolution, for example, it means that like it's not like somebody had an idea and called it a theory. That's called a hypothesis. A theory is something that people have examined and studied and experimented on and have proven to the best of their ability. Because in science, somebody can come along with some new idea or a new technology or a new thing that we were never able to do before and disprove everything that we used to think. And so now we have a new theory. But as far as we can tell, a theory in science is almost as good as fact. However, the theory of string theory is almost as good as fact, except for the fact that they can't do the experiments they need to do to really prove it. Because they're impossible. But it doesn't matter why. But I'm going to give you a little background on what string theory is here and then get into why I wanted to talk about this today. So in physics, we have what's called the standard I'm a physicist now. By the way, I have watched all 12 seasons of The Big Bang Theory, so I would consider myself an expert on string theory and physics at this point. I also went to school for engineering and got an A in physics, so I'm just, let's just assume that I am, the leading authority, unless you are a physicist or married to one, in which case then you're probably the leading authority in this group on physics. But since I'm the one with the microphone and the camera and the live and the group, let's just say it's me. So anyway, we have the standard model. The standard model kind of almost explains everything. It explains we have things in the universe. We have atoms, we have electrons and protons and quarks and all these things, and we can measure them, and we can almost, we can't see them, but we know that they are there, right? And we can measure them and stuff. And then we know that there's energy going back and forth between them, that they send information back and forth, and they share energy. So we understand how, maybe you've heard of Albert Einstein, how energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can be transferred from mass to energy and as like photons. If you don't understand this, don't worry about it. But basically, there are things and then there's energy between the things. How about that? That's the standard model. We can see the things, or we can tell that the things are there, like an electron and this other electron, and we can tell that there's energy going back and forth between them. And that model of telling all of that stuff is called the Standard Model, and it pretty much explains everything that we can see in the universe except gravity. It does not explain gravity. Gravity is explained a different way from the Standard Model, but they were like, there's got to be a way to explain gravity inside of this model, right? Come on, what, the whole universe works like this except for gravity? They were like, nah, we need a theory of everything. And so they came up with string theory, and they realized, well, if there's like a planet and a person, and the person is attracted to the planet, there must be some kind of energy transfer between them, and they considered that would be called a graviton. Did I get that word right? It doesn't matter. That would be the energy between them, right? Except whenever they tried to put this energy of gravity into the Standard Model, the math would get all messed up, and they couldn't do it, and they'd get errors, and they'd get like the answer would be infinity, and they'd just be like, this doesn't make any sense. It can't be. So they're like, we need a different theory. And so they came up with this thing called string theory, where the idea was smaller than all of these particles, atoms and electrons, and you break an electron and you get quarks and stuff, right? And smaller than all of that is just energy. Just energy. And so imagine a string. They used a string because we think of like really what it is vibration, and well, you can tell how we're getting to our realm in a minute, because at the center of everything, the basis of everything in string theory is that everything is built of vibration. Where have we heard that before? Oh my goodness, how out there this is, right? So and then they realized that everything vibrates on different frequencies. And so they could measure these frequencies and realize that, oh, well, this is this thing and this is this, right? All the things that they knew about already, they realized that there were corresponding strings that vibrated at certain frequencies, and this one was this quark and this one was this thing, right? I forgot all the names. There's a lot of scientific names like bosons and photons and stuff like that. It doesn't matter what they are. If you're interested in that, go watch YouTube. There's millions of videos that you can go over. I love this stuff, but I know a lot of you don't, so it doesn't really matter. But they also realized that there were different vibrational strings for all the different kinds of energies between things. You know, this is photons, like light photons between two things, including the gravitons. They found the energy string vibrating that was the graviton, and they were like, look at that, we figured it out, holy cow, this is amazing. And they realized that the math worked. They weren't getting the infinity errors anymore, and they said this whole thing works as long as we're in a universe with 26 dimensions, or 27 or something like that, but more than what we have clearly in our three-dimensional world. Well, 4 if you count time, but that doesn't matter. So they're like, okay, well, 26 dimensions, that's kind of weird. And one of the things, so anyway, they had to figure things out. They did some more math and some more sciencey stuff, and they got it down to 10 dimensions. And this is called superstring theory. And how they went from string theory to superstring theory is irrelevant to our discussion. But anyway, that's where we are now. We're at this thing called superstring theory, and it works. It explains gravity, and we can understand it, and it's very elegant, and it's very amazing, as long as we're living in a universe with 10 dimensions. So they're like, well, maybe it's right, and we just don't know where the other 6 dimensions are. So one of the ideas, I'm getting to my 3 things in a minute, because all of this is building up to my, hey, I know where the other 6 dimensions are, right? So, so the universe, one of the ideas is that the universe, remember this one, the universe that we live in, this 3-dimensional plus time universe, that's 4 dimensions, is a 4-dimensional slice of a larger 10-dimensional universe. Okay. So that's one, right? And the other is that the other 6 dimensions that we can't see are really tiny and curved in under ourselves. So at our scale, we can't see them because they're infinitesimally small and they're just curved in over each other. So those 2 theories, not theories, but hypotheses about where these other dimensions could be, are just a couple of the ideas that they have, but they're at a point now because they can't do experiments to figure it out if it's true or not. The experiments would be impossible for reasons I forgot. So it doesn't really matter. But anyway, that's where we're at. So we are at a place where string theory theorizes that everything in the universe is made up of vibration at its smallest level. Everything vibrates at different frequencies, and that works in a larger universe than we can actually see with our eyes, ears, right? It's in a larger universe than we can actually see, and they don't know, our three-dimensional tools and the things that we can do here on Earth can't see the bigger picture of like where is it, It's almost like there's a veil of some sort, and it's like we can't see behind that veil, right? I following my drift, right? So anyway, here are my three things. We are spiritual beings on a human adventure. Have you heard me say that recently? Okay, so what if our three-dimensional universe was the amusement park of the larger 10-dimensional universe? What if? Just let's pretend for a minute, right? Now imagine if I'm a three-dimensional person and I want to imagine what 2 dimensions is like. I live in a three-dimensional universe, but I can understand what a 2-dimensional universe would look like. In fact, I could create one. I could take a piece of paper and draw a picture of it. That's a 2-dimensional thing right there that I have created, and it exists inside of a 3-dimensional universe. And if there were things living in that 2-dimensional universe, this flat universe, right? If they were living here, they would only live on this surface, and all they would see is anything on this flat surface. We've talked about this once before. But I, being in the 3-dimensional universe, can see over it and under it. I can see all around it, but they can't. They can only see what's in here because I put them there. Or they put themselves there because they went to the amusement park. So if I can do that, then I'm sure that a 10-dimensional being, or however many dimensions, right? A 10-dimensional being can make a 3-dimensional world and say, let's go hang out in there. And we can only see 3 of them, right? And experience time. Well, that's one thing. What if that's what it is? What if this 3-dimensional universe is the amusement park for the larger, bigger universe, and we got our pants and we're doing our thing and we're going on the roller coaster, and then we're like, all right, I'm done, and we go back. And that's what it is. That's the answer. But how, the reason they can't prove this is because how do you prove that? You need to prove it from within the 10-dimensional universe. You can't prove it from within the 3-dimensional universe. So that's one. 2 is science and math can explain 3D because science and math come from 3D. But what if art is the thing that explains this? What if art and imagination and inspiration is the thing that can explain that? And you can't prove that with an experiment, with your beakers and your Bunsen burners and your things like that. You can only feel it. You can just kind of know it, and you have to have, what's the word? You have to have faith in it, right? What if it requires faith plus the scientific knowledge that we have to understand that what if there's just something bigger than us? And it's us, and we made it so that we can't kind of see it because there's like this veil thing there, and we know that it's there in here, but science and math is trying to figure it out up here and prove it from up here, and they may never be able to do it that way, But art is the thing that just makes you feel it. And you go, yeah, I know. I can't prove it. I can draw a picture of it, but I can't show it to you in like clear ways that every single human will be able to objectively look at and be like, yep, that's it. We all feel it. We all have that feeling. We all have that ability to feel it. And artists have the ability to inspire that feeling in other people. That's our superpower. Our superpower is to solve string theory. However, I'm not going to get the Nobel Prize because they're looking for the 3D math up here version of the answer. There is no Nobel Prize for the I just feel it answer, I don't know. It's lame, but that's how it is. And number three is really the point of why I wanted to say all of this today, because what if no single artist is insignificant? What if no single piece of art is insignificant to the answer here? What if everything that you create, everything that I create is vital to the propulsion of what we're doing? Kind of like sand on a beach, right? You have sand on a beach, and a lot of times we feel, as humans, as people, as artists in a field, even, that, well, I'm just one thing and my stuff is kind of insignificant, or I feel small, or I'm not as good as that one, or I'm not as good as that one. And we feel like a single grain of sand on the beach. And it's like, if you took a grain of sand and you put it in your pocket and you left the beach and you went home, it's not like the next guy is going to go to the beach and be like, what's wrong with the beach? It's missing a grain of sand. It's like no one's going to notice the grain of sand is even missing. But if you took all the grains of sand off the beach, then you'd notice, because now suddenly all you got is water and no sand. It's like, what happened to the beach? But it's like, I feel like in our 3D, in this world that we live in, this physical 3D world that we live in, it's kind of like where we designed it to feel like the small grain of sand, so that we can remember that we're actually the whole beach. Each one of us is actually the whole beach. And I know that that's not exactly tied to string theory, but it's where I landed with this, because if our universe were a slice of the bigger universe, and if science and math can only explain the slice, but art is what explains the bigger part, then there is no part of that explanation that is superfluous. There is no artist that doesn't matter. It's not like, oh, we needed 10 million people, but we have 10 million and one, so you can go. No, all of us are vital to the explanation. All of us are vital to the understanding. Now, I'm not saying that they'll never be able to come up with an experiment, because I don't know that they won't. But the brick walls that they've hit are that they need to do things that are seemingly physically impossible within the 3D construct that we have here, but they're not impossible here, And here is our realm. That's where we thrive. That's what we see, and that's what we bring to the table. So the next time you're painting something, or you're making something, or you're writing something, or you're creating something, or you're thinking about creating something, and you get that feeling like, what's the point? Is anybody ever really going to give a shit that I painted this, or made that, or did this, or sang that? Well, hopefully I have just made you realize that you're not the grain of sand that's insignificant. You are the whole fucking beach. So do it. Anyway, let's go to the comments and see if I've won a Nobel Prize or not. I will admit that there was probably a little bit of clickbait on this one. I did not solve string theory, not to the satisfaction, surely, of a physicist who's been working on it their entire adult life. But I think that we can all understand that the thing that in the first place ever attracted me to string theory was, they said, hey, what if everything were strings working on vibrations, and at its smallest point, everything was a vibration at a different frequency? And I was like, well, yeah, duh. So that's why I've always been personally attracted to the idea of string theory. I would love to see them be able to prove it, but I think this might be the best we get today. Oh, let me see what we got. Oh, I forgot to read all the hellos. Happy Hump Day. Yeah, that's today. What's up, Mikey? And Richard's here. Evening, all. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're feeling well. Tie a string on your finger. And Kirsten says, hello, Bobby, and all the mad scientists, artists here. Hello, Kirsten. And Robin is mellow. Hello, Robin. And Trevor is here. And welcome to my bedroom, Bobby. Oh, wow, that's a very welcoming greeting. Thank you, Trevor. And hello, especially Bobby. There you go. See, that's how you do it. Now we're hello, Bobby. Hello, family. Oh, that's very nice. Christina, I'm glad you feel that way. And Maurice is here. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you. I had an argument with someone in this group today about evolution. Really, I didn't see that. She thinks she can discredit it. Bobby, I need you to explain to her that she's kind of full of it, lol. Well, there are going to be people in the group who think that the evolution is not real, or that are flat earth believers, and quite honestly, I don't care. I don't need everybody to believe what I believe, and the only thing I care about is that we have toleration of other people's different beliefs. It's an art group, and basically the point that I'm trying to get across is that we are all important, and our voices are all important and all vital. So there's really no need to argue about those things. If this were a scientist group and somebody came in and said, well, the dinosaurs were buried 6,000 years ago, I'd be like, what are we? No. But I'm with you, dude. I know that a lot of, that's why I said that thing about theories in the beginning, because I know that a lot of people think, well, it's just a theory, but no, it's not. That's not what theory means. When you and I say, like, maybe I left my keys in my other coat, like, I have a theory, that's what we think, and it could be true, it could be not. But it's not like all the neighbors in the neighboring 5 towns got together to prove it, and they all concur that it was in the other coat. And then that's a scientific theory, that's what that means. Why can't I see anyone? I don't know. Do you have your eyes closed? I don't know what you mean by that. Hi, watching Lion's Tooth. Hi, watching Lion's Tooth. I don't know what that means either. Okay, the answer is 42. They can't explain magnets either. Oh, man, magnets. Yeah, that's a whole other daily field. Creation, as in art, is the string. Creation as in art is the string. Okay, I like that. Gravity is simple. As you get older, your man moves and starts saying downwards towards your knees. Yeah, but they can't explain, the energy interaction between the two. Gravity is really, really cool when you watch videos that explain it well, especially in time space. I mean, it's pretty wild stuff. I like this stuff. To me, I could watch videos on this all day long, but I'm not going to get too deep into it with you guys. Such an easy answer, Trevor. Yeah. I appreciate the fact that you use the word hypothesis and that you explain the context of the usage of the term theory in regards to science. Ironically, string theory is merely a hypothesis. Yeah, I know. That's yet to be confirmed to be true. Right. But because they can't prove it, there's no way to prove it. But even then, there's really not a consensus. There are plenty of scientists who think that string theory is not the way. They might not. They might like it. They might wish it were true. They might wish they could prove it. But without that proof and that consensus, they're not signing on to it. And then, as I think Maurice, you pointed out in a different post today, there are other ideas to prove the thing that string theory is trying to prove, but they don't prove it either. So that then, none of them prove it. So string theory is some people's favorites, and then there are others. What does this have to do with art? Well, I think I got to how it got to art by the end there. Colors are different levels of frequency, right? Must be along the same line. Yes, colors are absolutely different. Are different levels of frequency. That's correct. So light, everything is a vibration, right? Everything is a vibration, and so on the light spectrum, you have everything from infrared to ultraviolet. I can never remember which is the really high. I think ultraviolet is really high frequency, and infrared is really low frequency, where it's like this now, But violet is right. So then, as you get towards the center, you have violet we can see, and then or let me go this way, you have red and orange and yellow and blue, and then go in green and red, right? And you have green, and you have that spectrum, and it's this big. You see that? That's how big the light spectrum is of visible light that we could see. But each color is a different frequency, but the frequencies get shorter and shorter and shorter as you go into the X-rays and infrared and stuff, and then bigger and bigger and bigger as you get into ultraviolets, unless I have that backwards, because for some reason my brain just will never let me remember which is which. But yes, each color is a different frequency, and we see those frequencies. Our eyes recognize the different frequencies and turn them into colors in our brain. Which is why some animals see colors differently than we do. And some people see colors differently than we do because their brains don't recognize the frequencies the same. And that's what colorblind is. Alert, spoiler alert, now I'm mathematically challenged. So that's okay. That's all right. I didn't even do any math in this one. Maurice, I've always asked people this. What if we live in a superverse, a universe with a larger universe of universes, aka the superverse? I love this idea. I love all of these ideas, and I love the idea of thinking of these ideas. Like, so the one thing that I mentioned was, what if our universe were a slice of a bigger universe, right? So I liked that idea because I'm always talking about how here we are on Earth, on this amusement park that we're hanging out in for a few decades or however long. That's part of this larger source energy universe. But the universe, uni, literally means one. Like unicycle has one wheel. Universe means one verse, right? And so, but what if there are multiple universes, the multiverse, or I like that word, superverse, like something, to me, a superverse would just be multi-dimensional. So to the extent that we can't even understand it, because our brains work within the construct of our three-dimensional universe in which we live. Our brains are built to understand this. All five of our senses are designed to show us this thing that we're living in. And that's it. That's all we got. We have to trust this for understanding everything else. Even if you think, well, it's imagination that comes from my brain. Okay, that's fine, but imagination comes from the heart. Every animal has a brain. Humans, well, they all have hearts too, I suppose. But anyway, but we have imaginations and we get inspiration. So, Donna just tuned in at Amusement Park, LOL. Maurice, I lost him at Faith, my dude. That's okay. We don't have to have the same You're allowed to disagree with me. You're allowed to do anything. You don't have to believe what I believe. But to me, faith, it's not, I don't know why I lost you at the word faith. Sometimes the word faith would lose me too because I'm not religious. I grew up going to Catholic school and in Catholic land, everything. But as soon as I got out of that, I was just like, it's not for me. I don't believe in that. It didn't suit my life. Some people, perhaps I don't know you very well, Maurice, but you strike me as scientifically analytical, and that's great. So maybe just the idea of faith alone and science doesn't mix for you, and I respect that. So, but what I'm trying to get across here is that as artists, primarily looking at this as artists, sometimes we understand that the faith part in the bigger picture. We understand that we can take a blank sheet of paper and start putting something on it, and we just have faith that the finished product is going to be amazing because we have faith in ourselves. We understand, we trust our inspiration, we trust our imagination. We don't look at the blank canvas and worry like, I'll never be able to put anything on here. We just know we can. What is that? Can we prove that we can without doing it? No. We can't prove anything. We can prove it once it's done. I can show it to you. And over time, you might take that as proof that I can do it again. But if you've never seen me do it, I know I can do it because I just know I can do it. Do you know what I mean? That's what faith is to me. It's understanding that there's something bigger than me that I can just feel. I can just feel it. And if you feel it differently, then I respect that. I don't have a problem with that. Donna, it sounds like the perfect place for this one. I don't remember what Donna said. Maurice, okay, so here's why you don't like the word faith, because there's nothing that you can't believe on faith. Well, that's the other side of the coin, isn't it? Is that then you have to hear other people's opinions that they believe that the earth is flat, or that they believe that, the dinosaurs were on Earth 6,000 years ago, or that you believe, and you know what? It doesn't hurt me for them to believe that. I don't believe that, but I don't have to fight with them about it, and I don't have to have them agree with me, because if my point is still valid and their point is also equally valid. It may not be valid in the scientific community, but we are not a scientific community here. We are an artistic community. So if somebody wanted to paint a a drawing of Noah's Ark, that doesn't bother me. Do I believe that it existed and that two of every animal were saved for a flood? I do not. But if you do, I respect that. And that's perfectly fine and valid to me. But I would never say that my belief in something proves string theory in the scientific community. What I would say is that, hey, maybe we as artists can get together and say, well, string theory gets us this far, but we know on faith in our hearts that there's something bigger than what we can see and touch and feel and smell and taste. And maybe the answer is in that. And maybe our job as artists isn't to prove it scientifically. Our job as artists is to just, what if it's this? 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 And we just feel it. We can feel a million things. And maybe, dude, that's what the superverse is. Maybe it's everything. Maybe we're all right. Maybe we're fighting over everything. And when we get back up there, we're like, oh, Jesus, look at this. We were all right. I don't know. Oh, yes, art can make me cry. Yeah, when it's bad. Have you ever seen really... No, I'm kidding. Yeah, art can definitely make you cry. Why are you crying? Did something happen to you? Did somebody punch you in the face? No. You're seeing it, it's evoking something in you, and you're feeling it. What is that? That's not one of our five senses. It could be something bigger, right? We all understand that it does that. You can watch a sad movie and now you're sad, but like, why? Nothing bad happened to you, Maurice, yeah, I was gone a while ago. All right, I don't know what that means. Flow. That's the proof of the experiment. Flow. What do you mean? I don't know what that means. She's giving you the thumbs up. I must have said something and you wrote that when I said it, and it probably made sense if I had read it that moment, which I did not. Careful, someone might string you up. But you're full of the puns today. Rolling on the floor laughing. Trevor says, I've been strung up regularly. The superverse, Bobby Donahue. Yeah, I like the idea of the superverse. I want to learn more about that idea. I've probably heard that word, but to me, I've heard multiverse many times, and I've also heard like parallel universes and things like that. I don't know that I've heard of the superverse, so I'm going to look that up. I'd like to learn more. I got a G old string. It ties people in knots all the time. I love my lasso of truth. There you go, right? You're Wonder Woman. Wait, have we figured out the gravity part yet? Or are we saying, screw all that, let's just go to the higher realm? Well, the gravity part is figured out mathematically. However, the math only works if you say that there are 10 dimensions in the universe, which science can't look at the universe and say, here are the 10 dimensions. We can see 3 dimensions and we understand time as we're constantly moving forward in time, so we can kind of count on 4 dimensions, but the math requires there to be 10 dimensions. And scientists go, where are the other 10? We don't know. Let's come up with an experiment to prove where the other 10 are. And any experiment that they come up with requires like moving mass at the speed of light. I don't even know what the experiments require, but they can't do them. And so they can't prove it. They can theorize it, they can think of it, they can understand it, they can explain it, they can say maybe the other 10 are over here, maybe the other 10 are over here. That's where the idea of maybe our 3-dimensional world is just a slice of a larger universe, but there is no way to prove that the larger universe is there scientifically. Or maybe the other dimensions are curled up on themselves, and they can explain how that could be perceptually, but they can't prove it. Do you know what I mean? So string theory is stuck at this place where it's like, man, this is so close, yet no cigar. So I'm kind of saying screw that. I was only talking the gravity part is where the string theory came from. That's why I brought it up. But none of this was about solving the gravity part. This was about getting to the point where all of us aren't a grain of sand where the whole beach. That was the point of this. Robin. I got an A in physics in high school, but when I got to college and took it, it was a huge wake-up call. F. I had to do extra to pull a D. Never again. Yeah. Physics, I took physics in high school. I took calculus in high school, and I got an A in both. And then I went to engineering school the next year, and I got an A in physics in college, but I got a C in calculus. It was the same freaking class, and I got a C in it. And it was the teachers. For me, I had amazing teachers in high school, and then my physics professor in college was probably the best professor I ever had in my entire life. Professor Scarl. He's the only professor whose name I can think of off the top of my head. Unbelievable man. Taught me not only physics but how to like approach problems. I use his approach to all problems in life that he taught in that class, and I got an A in his class. And the math teacher, couldn't tell you her name. She was a ditz. And I hated her class, and I was just like, how do I not understand this? I literally just took this a year ago and couldn't tell you. Haley, when do you wear that? Yes, I am the whole fucking beach. Yeah, Donna, you are. And so are you, Robin. Does string theory work for string bikinis? Okay, now, all right, the puns. Look, one or two puns is okay, but I'm gonna have to start giving people demerits now. Okay, puppets work on a string. Wonderful woman. Oh, that's nice of you, Trevor. Let's see, Maurice. I took astronomy in college, and it opened my mind up to everything. The math was super hard, but I'm pretty good at math. I was on the math team in high school, and my high school is arguably the best in the state of Illinois. That's interesting. Yeah, I was really good at math in high school too. It was one of my best subjects, and which is why I thought I wanted to go to engineering school. But then the math there, I was just like, I'm not into this math. It was like the high school math up to I was taking calculus 2, calculus 3, calculus 4. It was just like, oh my god, this stuff is just insane, and I could grasp it, but I couldn't do it, and I didn't care enough about it to do it. But yeah, I'm with you though, Maurice, because to this day, like I'll still watch YouTube channels that are about this kind of stuff. It opens you up if you can look into other things, like you said, you took astronomy and it opened your mind up to other possibilities. I think as artists looking into scientific things and seeing how they're approaching it. Here's what I get from that, Maurice, is as artists, looking at the work that scientists are doing, even if you don't understand all of the scientific or mathematical parts of it, if you listen to what they're trying to do, it will open your artistic mind to the imagination to see the answer, even though we can't prove it. Does that make sense to you? So what's his name? Richard just mentioned earlier in the comments that magnets are unexplainable too, right? So as scientists might not be able to explain everything about magnets, but as an artist, we can just imagine what the answer could be. And that's all we have to do. We don't have to prove anything to anybody, right? Oh, look, I painted a picture of this thing, and no other artist is going to be like, prove to me that that's what that thing actually looked like, right? Nobody cares. It's just like it's subjective. You like it or you don't like it. And that's why art is more fluid. It's more heartfelt, whereas science is very brain felt. You know, it has to be provable. It has to be logical. There's nothing wrong with that, but maybe we have the ability to combine the two is what I'm trying to say. Tony, hey, what's up, man? How are you? I've seen it like this in regards to the sand analogy with help of a friend. If we are the sand on the beach, the water is consciousness. That's interesting. Didn't think of that. As it flows up over us, it changes us slightly, and we change consciousness with every wave out, little by little. Wow, I really like that. That's cool. So the waves, the water, the consciousness flows over us, and we're the sand on. I like that. That's really cool. Prove it. No, I'm kidding. Donna, I'm going for the Booby Nobel Prize. Ooh, nice, Donna. Yeah, there you go. And Donna is back. There you go. I'm good. Thanks, Bobby. Good. Wow, it took that long to get that answer in the comments? Wow. Well, maths, it's kind of truth, a pure language of sorts. Yeah, math is math. You know, there is no debating it. There is no, you prove it or you don't, you know, and that's pretty much that. And these guys are saying hi to each other. Wait, what? The earth is not flat? I've been getting around thinking I'm imaginary. No, it's not. Hi, buddy, says Richard. Back probably to Trevor. And Trevor Barrett, you guys are saying hi to each other again. And let's see. Haley says, scientifically, string theory is the only one where the math adds up, but who knows? That's where faith comes in, the evident demonstration of things not seen. Yes, the math in string theory does add up if you say that there are 10 dimensions in our universe. But scientists go, well, I only see 3, or 4 including time. Where are the other 6? That's the problem, is they can't prove where the other 6 is, and anything that they come up with to figure out where the other 6 is not doable because we're stuck in these 3 dimensions. We're stuck here. That's this. We've created it's almost like you're in the amusement park and you have to prove that the Sahara Desert exists. Well, you can't, because you can only see inside the amusement park. The whole world is the amusement park to you. But yeah, the math is ridiculous. Very tedious with fractions and decimal places and exponents and all of that. Yeah, then it starts getting into the math theory. To me is fascinating, but when you actually have to do the math, when you have to do the arithmetic, like my kids were both in high school this year. My daughter took calculus and my son was taking geometry, and I would help them with homework every day, and it was wonderful to me because I understood all the concepts of the math. I was able to do the stuff with my daughter in calculus, which was like, wow, I took calculus so long ago and I didn't remember it off the top of my head, but when I looked at the examples, I was like, oh, I know how to do this, and we did it. But then sometimes you'd actually have to do like the arithmetic and it breaks down to the algebra where you have to now, figure out the problem. It's like, okay, well, I understand you have to do this and you have to solve for this and then you have to do this. But then you have to factor the equation and you have to solve for X. And it's just like, and then you get into like the exponents, like you said, and the fractions. And it's just like, now you're just making it hard to be a dick. It's like, did this problem really need to have 1/3 X? Couldn't you just have a whole X? You know what I mean? I'm with you, dude. Christina, hi, how are you? What if, hang on, Christina, before I read this, I'm going to take a sip because I have a feeling the answer to your question is going to be a thing. What if one of the dimensions is the spiritual realm where our spirits come from, and another one is the dimension of our feelings, and our art is a dimension in which we can explain 2 more of the 10 dimensions? Well, that's really awesome. I wasn't thinking of it that way. I was thinking, what if the other 10 are just, spirit, source energy land? But what you're saying is like one of them is source energy land, and one of them is our feelings, and one of them is art, and one of them is thoughts, and one of them is imagination, and one of them is inspiration. It's like, we don't know. And how on earth would you prove that? How on earth would you prove that? You can't prove that on earth because earth is confined to these 3 dimensions that we can prove. I can prove that I can stretch out this way and I can stretch out this way and I can jump a little bit, right? And that's all I can prove. And I can prove that we're moving forward in time. They can prove that. So that's 4. But how would you prove that one of them is where spirit comes from? How would you prove that one of them is where art resides? Haven't you ever felt when you made a piece of art, when you created something, when you sang that song, when you recited or wrote that poem, haven't you ever felt like the words just like you didn't think of them? They just went, they just came out of you, like your hand just moved and you weren't even paying attention, and all of a sudden here was this thing. Haven't you ever felt that before? Of course you have. Where the hell did that come from? I don't know. If you think it came from here, prove it. You can't. If you think it came from here, prove it. You can't. But you know it. You feel it. That's what I'm trying to say. And that, Maurice, is what the faith part is. It's like, this just pours out of me, and I know it's from something bigger than just this part of me. That's what faith is. And yes, people can have faith in anything, but if their faith in anything doesn't hurt you, then who gives a shit, really? I mean, think what you want. It doesn't matter to me that you think something that I don't think. Christina could say to me that her religion dictates that one of the dimensions is spirit and one of them is art. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool. I don't know that and I don't believe that. I'm not going to go to church and sing songs about that, but I think it's pretty cool of an idea. Do you sing songs about that, Christina? So interesting about the lights. I've been trying to learn how this works for growing plants, but very interesting and confusing. Well, I don't know much about plants and light, but I'm curious if what you're saying, do the visible light spectrum is just what our eyes see, but we have instruments that can see X-rays and ultraviolet rays, and I mean, you can go to the dentist and get an X-ray of your teeth, and it turns the what the X-ray sees into visible light, and that's why it looks the way it looks. But we can't see X-rays with our eyes only. We need a machine that sees them and makes it a two-dimensional picture of visible light. How does it do that? Do the plants see light beyond the spectrum that we see? Dogs can hear sounds beyond the spectrum of sound waves that our ears can hear. Doesn't mean those sounds don't exist. I can't hear that high-pitched sound, but the dog can, right? And instruments can pick up sounds that are even higher pitched or lower toned. It's the same thing. Those are sound waves or vibrations as well. If we stand up and say seeing is believing, we are not in tune with the right eyes. Well, that's part of it too, is that science will only believe what it can see, whereas we believe that we will see what we believe in. So if you believe that, this dogma, or if you believe this theory, or if you believe this hypothesis, then you will see the world shape around that thing and keep showing you things just to make you keep thinking you're right. And as long as we're not stabbing each other in the eyeballs, agree with me, then there's no harm in it. There's really no harm in it. The problem isn't that the Palestinians believe one thing and the Israelis believe another thing. That's not the problem. The problem is that they want the other ones to be gone. They want to be right. They want to be the only one left. The problem isn't that Republicans think one thing and Democrats think another thing. The problem is that everybody thinks that it can only be this way or that way. So they fight over it, and sometimes it's this way, and sometimes it's that way, and then it goes back to being this way, and then it goes back to being that. It's exhausting. So who cares? What? Do what you want. Believe what you like. Christina, very interesting concept. Yes, Christina, it was. Robin concurs. Only the crocheted ones. Okay. The string bikinis. Thank you, Donna, for reminding me. What the heck were you talking about? Always laugh or try to laugh. I like that. Richard, I love moss. It's like a mini-verse. The insects and microbes that live on moss have no idea that we exist. I like where your brain is going with this, dude. It's like so you have like a little biosphere, right? Like a little mini-verse, as you called it, that has no idea that right next to it is the rest of the entire planet. Maybe we're living on a piece of moss, and the rest of the universe is walking by going, oh, look at them, they're cute. Oh, look, they're throwing bombs and explosives at each other again. Why do they do that? I don't know. It's so silly. Right? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's really cool. And the Earth is a donut, and the sun travels through the hole. Okay. Can you draw that for me? I like that's cool. Horton here's a who. Ask Spock, Jim. He's our science officer. You guys are funny. So if you get sand in your string bikini, you can solve this problem. Yes, that's the solution. Have you met Ali G? No, I never met him. I know what you're talking about. Hell yes. Trevor agrees with me about something brilliant that I said. Haley, the answers come when we are willing to accept unity. In other words, not one person by himself has all the answers. That's the sand thing. We're all part of the answer. We're all important. Everybody's ideas, everybody's things. What if we were all? What if none of us has the answer? What if we're all the answer? You put it all together, and we go, oh, it's that. But we can't see that here because here we can only see bits and pieces of it from our own individual perspectives. We are God's symphony orchestra. Nice. I like your way of putting it. Maybe the other 6 dimensions are in outer space. Maybe they are. Hey, look who's here. And or can't be seen until we spiritually travel. And or can't be seen. Yes, right. Yes, Hector. It's like my idea was that this is the other 6 dimensions, right? This thing, the source energy land, and we're just here in these 3. But we're not spiritually traveling. We're trying to figure it out with 3-dimensional mathematics, 3-dimensional physics, 3-dimensional space travel. It doesn't work to solve the other dimensions when we're like, hey, let's look for those other dimensions, but only stay in these 3. Well, you're not going to find them there, Let's go to LA, but stay in New York. That you can't, right? Doesn't work. True. I know who this is, even though you. This is Antoine. Even though you're still a Facebook user. Did I not? I didn't send you the link. Sorry. I will. Hi, Antoine. How are you? Haley says you can't see the wind. Where did it come from? Where did it go? But it's there and it demonstrates it. Yeah. Wind is actually kind of easy to explain, but yes, I understand the concept. We can't see it with our eyes. You're absolutely right. Surely 3D and time are both human creations. Yes, they are. And don't call me Shirley. Sorry, I couldn't resist. You probably set me up for that, hoping I would say that. I would bet you would do that. Human self-limiting beliefs. That's from Airplane, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Surely 3D and time are both human creations. Well, time is, we figured out how to explain time. And so, the 3D and time, I think 3D and time are spiritual creations for us to go and play in. That's what I think. But who knows? I can't prove that. That's just what I like to think because it's cool to think it and it's cool to examine it in my brain. Human self-limiting beliefs. Yeah. Okay. So the way I'm going to answer you based on that last sentence is that scientists are confined to 3D and time, trying to understand something bigger, but literally our brains can't understand it, or they're trying to explain it in mathematics, which is limited to 3D. I think you know what I'm trying to say. What about our chakras? They're like levels of consciousness that seem like different levels of dimensions, and they're connected to a higher dimension. So creativity comes from the sacral chakra. Is that the same as the art residing in a dimension? Sure. Yes. Right? I can't prove that it is or it is not, but that's a way of thinking about it. And you can use words and be like, what if this were this? And then imagine it. Where is this imagination coming from? Where is it taking you? What is the next thought that you're going to get? That's the point. Is that we don't know, and I don't think we're on a journey to know because we came from where we already knew. Imagine this: we came from Source Energy Land and said, "Hey, I'm going to the amusement park," and when I'm at the amusement park, I can't wait to know what outside the amusement park is like. I was already there. I wanted to go in the amusement park. I wanted to be in here, and I wanted to play at remembering. And maybe remembering isn't even the point. Maybe imagining what that big picture looks like. Maybe we live out here in the 10 or 20 or 50 or a million dimensions or infinite dimensions. Maybe the infinite one is the answer, and we can't even fathom that. Maybe we live in that, and nothing gives us awe. Nothing gives us joy or amazement because everything is amazing. We know everything. So we said, gee, it would be really nice if I didn't know all this stuff so I could learn it and remember it and have my eyes open and be in awe of it again. It would be amazing to see a sunrise for the first time, right? Have you ever done something for the first time and it was so amazing, but then the second and third time and the 50th time, it's like, it's still good, but it's not as amazing as that first time. I would like to do that again. I would like to have that first time again. And so we created this. We created Earth. We created this three-dimensional universe. And some of us think it's this, and some of us think it's that. And then we fight with each other, and we throw bombs at each other, and we fight over it. But we see that sunrise again, and we imagine, and we feel inspiration, because we don't feel that here, because it's all here. We feel everything at the same time. Maybe it's that. Kirsten. Pineal gland, third eye. Yeah, that's our gateway to it. We'll have to catch the replay. Cool. This was an interesting one. And the nominee for the Nobel Booby Prizes are, well, you were, and then Ray swooped in. We each have a piece of the puzzle, but we don't have the box to refer to. Oh, yeah, there you go. And some being in another realm has the pieces we need to complete the picture. And we probably have the pieces they need to finish their side of the puzzle. Yeah, what if we're all not, what if it is 10 dimensions and we're living in a 3-dimensional plus time? And what if there's like three-dimensional universes and we're all sharing time as that 10th one, right? 3 and 3 is 9. And then time goes through all of them. And that's 10, right? And so that proves string theory. But as Ray just said, like, we have these pieces in our universe, but this 3-dimensional universe has a whole bunch of other pieces, and they're trying to figure out our pieces. And then this one has pieces that none of us have. And maybe we have pieces that are overlapping too, like time. That's pretty wild, Ray. I like that. Pineal gland is the antenna, like a bee, but no bee stands alone and knows the direction to the nectar. That's right. There's another analogy. I like it. All right. No, it's not. Trevor. First time taking recreational drugs while clubbing, just like the first sunrise. There you go. Right? Cool. Well, guys, that was fun. Did we win the Nobel Prize? I don't know. Somebody's going to win a booby prize, so let's see who it is. So far, it's Trevor. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and for bringing your ideas to the game. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, this was fun. Who knows? Let's see what we talk about tomorrow. I have no idea. I'll figure it out in the morning when I wake up. Have a wonderful night. And Trevor, nope, you just lost it to Kirsten. Kirsten swooped in with a booby and won the prize. Kirsten, you get the booby prize. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Oh, nope. Look at this bastard. Swoops in. Swoop. If I would just shut up, you'd win it, but I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep talking about how you just swooped in and stole it at the last second from poor Kirsten, who I was rooting for, but has now lost it. All right, Hector, you get it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.